Fat Tony, Cenk Uygur, talked to a call-in audience member who is voting third party. Now, I think if we all remember how TYT has, in the past, been on the warpath against third parties, going all in with the Democratic Party, I think it's the first time ever we've seen Cenk get humbled by somebody. Now, the voter, the caller, is someone who is Palestinian American, and she doesn't believe Kamala Harris is the lesser of two evils. Because let's be clear here, what's happening right now in Gaza is happening under the watch of Joe Biden, and who is his VP, Kamala Harris. So in more ways than one, she is also responsible and equal to what's happening here, and it's because of the policies and decisions made by Joe Biden, the president, if he is making decisions at all. So it's very rare we get to see something like this. It's pure delicious, but it's also important for us to remember, we here at Heartlands Media encourage all of you to make your own decision on election night. It is your right to make that decision. But to the Arab and Muslim community out there, who has been giving you the middle finger? The Democrats. And does it come as a surprise why a lot of Arab and Muslim voters are abandoning the Democratic Party? Because they are allowing this injustice to happen. The Democrats are talking down to anyone that's anti-war. That's including those who are anti-war in Ukraine. That's including everyone else that's calling out the Democrats for their hypocrisy. Under these 4 years, we've seen the neoliberal agenda intensify and making the lives of everybody else more miserable. Democrats, your great coalition is falling apart, but you don't have to believe me. I want to give a huge shout out to Case Study QB, who managed to get this on video. So shout out to Case Study QB. All the best to him. Check it out.
Have you made up your mind on who you're going to vote for?
Well, yeah, I live in Virginia. It's really leaning blue no matter what. So I probably will be voting third party.
Oh, you're going to be voting third party. But, okay, bro, let me try to convince you for a second. And I'm not going to, look, what I'm not going to do is shame you. I totally get it. Right?
Oh, that's a first. Really? That's not what you're doing the first or second time.
Right. And a lot of people are in the same situation you are. But in 2016, I told people, hey, if you think you live in a blue state, you might not. One of those states was, two of those states were Wisconsin and Michigan, where people were positive they lived in a blue state. And it turns out they didn't. So on the other hand, if Kamala Harris loses Virginia, then she definitely lost the race. But I don't think Virginia is that blue. I think it's purple. So right. If Mohammed, and I know it's a super hard question, and I'm putting you on the spot, but you get to decide who the president is, and it can only be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump.
And I hate that liberals do this. You have to choose a president, and it could be either Trump or Kamala Harris. Well, then I choose neither, none of the above. How's that sound? And not to mention, who's making it's easy to vilify Trump. I get it. Look, Trump's got a lot of problems, but Trump isn't the one that's supervising over this war that's happening. I say supervise because who's been giving billions of dollars of aid to Israel? Meanwhile, hurricane victims are only going to get $750. Oh, and by the way, Biden once again regaled an audience about how he almost lost his house to a lightning strike this time. Not a house fire, but a lightning strike. So Americans get nothing. Israel gets billions. And as Israel gets those billions, a genocide's happening in Gaza. There's been a report too, and we've seen the images too, and we can't play them on YouTube because that will get us struck down, but of people in a hospital being burnt alive. Did Trump do that? Or was it the Biden-Harris administration that gave billions of dollars to see people get burnt alive? So, hey, Cenk, this whole option of, oh, Trump and Kamala, you only can pick one. Voting for the lesser of two evils. You're still voting for evil, Cenk. You think you get that lesson by now. Or at least you remember the lessons that Jimmy Dore taught you.
What do you say?
Cenk, I don't know. I just can't vote for the murder of my people. I'm Palestinian American. And we're looking at two candidates. One who uses the word Palestinian as a pejorative. And the other one is funding the genocide of my people. So I literally don't even believe that Kamala Harris is the lesser evil. She's just as evil as Biden and Trump. So if anything, and I know this is going to sound really counterintuitive to most people listening and watching, but in a way, Biden and Harris deserve to be punished.
It's not counterintuitive. Yes, they do deserve to be punished. I mean, Roe v. Wade died under Biden. You know, we lost a lot of our ability to grow in this economy under the policies of the Biden-Harris administration. We've entered into more wars, and dare I say it, we could be entering into World War III. And look at that perfect pause right there. That perfect pause of, oh, I hate that somebody would vote third party. Well, guess what? They have every right to vote third party, Cenk. And Biden and Harris do deserve to be punished. I mean, uncommitted. I mean, uncommitted at this point, I can't even, if you're a volunteer for uncommitted, look at your leadership. They're still begging like punks for the Democrats to unghost them. How low do you have to be? At least be like abandoned Harris. Have some dignity and like go all in for third party, because uncommitted, you say that name, but I don't think you know what it means. I mean, a genocide is taking place in Gaza, and it's under the watch of Biden and Harris. They both own it. They're both in command. Biden's the president, Kamala's the VP. So what do you think's happening? Now, it's easy to blame Trump, but what I also want to say then, too, to all those vote blue no matter who activists, I haven't seen you people out there on the streets. I know with Roe v. Wade, you know, being undone, you guys said you'd be protesting the streets every day, all the time, every time. I don't see you out there. Anti-war movement, where you at? Oh, and if this hurricane happened under Trump, oh, I know all you protesters would be out there. Now, maybe I'm being mean to the activist community out there, but I'm not going to let you guys be smug jagoffs and get away with what you did before. I got to call you out. Hey, to those activists who were vote blue no matter who, or thought they would be part of a resistance facing off against Trump, where are you? Oh, that's right. You're at brunch.
And they don't deserve to be rewarded with yet another term of their administration.
Okay, Mohammed, the minute you said you're Palestinian, I thought, no, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I get it. And by the way, this is
good, smart decision. You don't want to get embarrassed, Cenk.
It's already super informative. So on TV, they never talk to real people. So it's usually manicured and produced and vetted. So it fits that narrative that they're trying to accomplish. There's no narratives here. I'm doing this special as against Trump, but he's got a genuine opinion that I respect and I understand and I appreciate. The only thing I'll say.
Do you think Cenk really genuinely appreciates this guy's opinion or this person's opinion? Type 1 for yes, kid, he does. He truly does. Type 2, no. He's trying to make everybody vote blue, no matter who, for Kamala Harris.
Mohammed, is if she loses because of the Arab American or Muslim American vote, they're not going to learn the lesson of, oh, then we should not just unilaterally support Israel. They will never, ever, ever learn that lesson.
Then why do you go to bat for them, Cenk? Like, what do you expect? Okay, if you're never going to learn that lesson, and then what? Well, obviously, here's what you do. You give them the middle finger, Janky. That's what you do, Janky. You give the Democrats a big old middle finger and tell them to F off. And if they can't do that, you tell them to F off. And if they really can't do that, then you got to tell them to F off. That's what you got to do. You don't be like a punk and be like, hey, let's make a Justice Democrats or brand new Congress or Our Revolution or DSA. All those groups got co-opted. Same thing for Black Lives Matter, Me Too, Time's Up, all that stuff. Sunrise Movement, all of it. Hell, even uncommitted. I'm going to throw them in there too. Everybody going to bat for the Democrats and nothing fundamentally changes.
And they'll always, both the Republicans and Democrats will always support them until there's just like a public revolt that they cannot contain, right? But instead, they'll blame you. They'll blame Arabs and Muslims. And again, here we go. Then it'll be the party that's got the Cheneys blaming Muslims. So they'll blame progressives. They'll blame Russia. They'll blame everyone else, right? So in my lifetime, I have never seen the Democrats learn a correct lesson from an election and go, oh yeah, we should really do.
Then why do you go to bat for them, and why do you run for their offices? Why? Unless you like being embarrassed.
Some self-reflection here. And so on Hillary Clinton, you lost because you were pro-establishment. It's the most obvious thing in the world. And the lesson they got was no, Bernie bros, the Russians, and the weather. Like, so,
right.
Yeah. But hey, you got to vote your conscience. And I get it, brother. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for sharing that important perspective.
Thank you, Cenk. God bless.
Well, Cenk lost that one. because an audience member is correct. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my audience members here. First of all, Dissel says Cenk demonstrates he knows he can't convince a victim of his chosen candidate, but he can convince the bystanders. So he's going to try and make people feel guilty. Don't feel guilty if you want to vote third party or independent or not vote. All right. Heartlands Media encourages you, all 485 beautiful people watching us on YouTube, all 120 beautiful people watching us on Rumble, and of course, all 10 people watching us right now on Kick, all of you. So that's like what, 600 plus people? Do whatever the hell you want. World's your oyster on this one, lovelies. Do whatever you want. Peter version 1 says, if Trump wins, wants Stein, do you think Democrat leaders will protest against Israel being Trump is for it? I think they will, though. They went after students. Well, I think the Democrats just don't give a damn. They're going to put on a mask. I know it's going to happen. If Trump wins, if Trump does win, the Democrats are going to put on their old protest walking shoes and try and infiltrate the latest activist group. So to the new wave of activists, keep your heads on a swivel, but I'm prepared to be disappointed. And shout out to Cool Blue 71. Perhaps Democrats' next argument can be to ask people to vote for Kamala, so maybe Maya Rudolph can have the next 4 years playing her in Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live is not funny. But before we end this segment, before we move on, I think it's important for us to really understand who is Kamala. Because I got to tell you, this commercial right here, don't show it to Cenk. It'll trigger him.
So, who is Kamala Harris, and why are Netanyahu's close allies helping her? Kamala received $5.4 million from AIPAC. She's not planning to stop the genocide in Gaza. She actively supports Israel with American-made bombs, and she launders debunked atrocity propaganda to help Israel get away with their crimes. Maybe Mehdi Hassan will ask her hard-hitting questions about that. That's why a vote for Kamala Harris is really a vote for genocide. Don't believe me? Well, then hear it from her husband.
Let me just make this clear. Vice President Harris has been and will be a strong supporter of Israel, and she will always ensure that Israel can defend itself, period. That's who Kamala Harris is.
A genocide supporter. That's who Kamala Harris is. I'm a decent human being, and I endorse this message.
Oh, man, Green Party came back against the Democrats. For those you don't know, maybe Cenk Uygur doesn't know about that either, but the Democrats put out this anti-Kamala Harris ad, or anti-Jill Stein ad. And the thing is, Democrats, if you don't understand the fact that people are moving on without all of you, well, then Cenk and everybody else, you can cry and moan and complain and weep as much as you want. But Arab voters and Muslim voters are walking away from the Democrats. I say this because it's a fact, and we've been covering this on the show. The Democrats are losing their coalition. Democrats can't keep things together, and yet Cenk is somehow trying to convince people, oh, hey, give me a chance. Go ahead and consider maybe voting for Kamala. Now, he's begrudgingly saying, oh, I wish I could help. I wish I could help, or I wish I could convince you. He can't convince anybody. He's incapable of convincing anyone. And just so you guys see this anti-Jill Stein ad, here it is. It was covered by BSDNC, our good friends at Morning Blow, so all of you can see it here too. And I have to wonder, Democrats, is this the best you can do? Cenk, you go to bat for the Democrats all the time, every time. It's getting rather embarrassing.
Obviously, Democrats want to leave no stone unturned, and the Democratic National Committee even has this new ad about the danger of the undervote or those who may vote for Jill Stein. Just 3% of the vote. Take a look.
Oh,
Jill
no.
Stein, Green Party candidate for president. So why are Trump's close allies helping her? Stein was key to Trump's 2016 wins in battleground states. She's not sorry she helped Trump win. That's why a vote for Stein is really a vote for Trump.
Jill Stein, I like her very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Yes, well, Kamala, very similar to AOC. Every time you Democrats open your mouth and try and attack third parties, I've been seeing something interesting happen. Third parties getting a magnificent boost, a huge boost, and a middle finger. to the neoliberal Democrats. So good for the Greens. The Democrats are struggling. The Democrats are in full panic. And I say the Democrats are in full panic because they are incapable of actually handling their own or holding up their own against a Green Party candidate. They've never debated against Greens. They're afraid to debate Jill Stein. AOC is afraid to debate Jill Stein. Kamala Harris is afraid to do it. They don't want to. They say they don't want to waste their time or help out somebody who's helping out Trump. But the thing is, Democrats, you're losing your coalition. That phone caller that Cenk Uygur was talking to, that's only one of many, many voters that could have voted Democrat if the Democrats actually followed through with their promises. But see, here's the thing about Democrats and the entire political system of the Democratic establishment network. They never follow through. And yet suckers like Cenk Uygur still want to convince all of you, hey guys, vote Democrat. This time things will be different. You know, madness is trying to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. People ain't buying it anymore. So Hard Lens Media says this: vote third party and stand against the two-party system.